I want to show you how simple it is to order blood work within Emma. Going back over into a plan drawer in the left-hand side of the screen, I'm selecting Order Tests. When I do, you may notice that the labs coming up are psoriasis specific. Once again, we have that adaptive learning engine that's running in the background to thank for that. When I make the selections of labs that I want to order and simply hit Done, a lab requisition has now been electronically created in the background. This lab requisition can be sent using a bidirectional interface to the lab of that practice's choice. This is really beneficial for staff. They're not having to grab a lab slip and fill it out by hand, leaving room for errors. It's all documentation coming off the visit today. Once lab results do come back in, those are coming back in electronically as well, making it very simple for that provider to add their electronic signature and add a plan for staff to see to contact that patient and follow up on. Now that we've completed our psoriasis workup, perhaps the providers now notice a spot on the patient's back that's looking suspicious for malignancy. So we're going to perform a biopsy today. I want to show you how easy it is to pivot into that biopsy. By going back into my diagnosis drawer, I'm selecting my basal cell carcinoma diagnosis. On the right-hand side of the screen, just as with my psoriasis, my morphologies are now populating. I'm going to keep it as my standard, but add in a differential diagnosis of an ISK. From here, I'm simply going back into a plan drawer. But you'll notice now we've got basal carcinoma plans coming up first compared to our psoriasis diagnosis. When I select my biopsy by shave method plan, Emma has prompted me now to tap on my body atlas so that we can select the anatomical location. As I tap and hover over my atlas here, it is rendering those anatomical locations for me. Once I'm satisfied with how it's rendering, I'm simply going to make a hard tap there and start working through my biopsy details. You'll notice here though, if I simply select a size, the rest of these details are auto-populating based upon provider defaults thanks to those sticky fields that we showed you earlier today. Just like with my blood work, all I have to do next is hit Done and my path requisitions now have been created in the background. Just as with my labs, this is going to be sent to the path lab using a bidirectional interface. I'll even now be able to capture a photo of that biopsy site using my built-in camera on the iPad. With our photo feature here, I can pinch and zoom. I can take a series of photos. I'm just going to capture my pen here. I'll now be able to associate that neoplasm of uncertain behavior and save it into my visit note. But in addition to today's visit note, it's also saving onto my patient-specific photo gallery. Within this photo gallery, I can do any side-by-side comparisons of two photos, I can pinch and zoom, I can print, or even publish any of these on the patient portal. Additionally, I can even capture a consent form from that patient for that biopsy service that's being done today. They'll be able to read through and sign electronically using a finger or stylus, and Emma's going to date and timestamp this particular consent form and leave it on the chart level for us to review at any point. Now, the very last thing I'm going to show you within Emma is something called a protocol. Let's take it back to our psoriasis example. You notice that I might have selected a few different plans to complete that entire workup. But rather than go in now and select individual plans, let's say for skin check, I can have all of this already grouped together by building a protocol. So that way I can build in and bring in any of those plans I consistently use together in one tab. This can also be a bundle of impressions, as you're going to see now with my skin check. So when I go back into my More tab, this is where the protocol is going to live. Now, for a practice, they can share this among providers, or an individual provider might want to keep this to themselves, just depending on the preference. As soon as I hit save, now you'll notice that I brought in a couple of different things, such as subarachnoid keratoses, benign appearing nevi, cherry angiomas, and even lentiginous. Let's say in this particular patient, they actually don't have any lentiginous. I'm going to delete those, but the rest of my impressions are remaining. How great is that? The very last thing here we're going to do in our clinical visit is see that we have our follow-up set. That follow-up is now going to appear directly into the checkout screen for this particular patient without needing to circle this on a superbill. The beauty of that full solution, right? Automatically populating right there for a checkout staff member.